What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you back on the channel. On today's episode, we'll be looking at the 5 key neckline types for sportswear design. When it comes to fashion, there are a variety of different necklines that you can choose from. There's too many to go through in this one video, but as sportswear designers, we're going to be focusing on ones that are applicable for this industry. There's specific necklines that are more suitable for women's items, and then there's more necklines which are suitable for men's items. So when I go through each of my 5 top necklines, I'll be describing where and which scenario to use and which gender each neckline would be most appropriate. So if you guys want an intro into these kinds of necklines, this is the video for you. We'll run through them super quickly, so strap up, you guys are in for a good one. Hey guys, and welcome to Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you here. On this channel, we discuss all things sports fashion, graphic design, manufacturing, and technology. We'll discuss key topics, answer pressing questions, and provide actionable steps on starting your own product line. If you're interested in any of the above topics, stick around. You're in for a good one. I'll start off with one of the most common necklines there is, and this is the V neckline. This neckline is characterized by 2 diagonal lines coming in opposite directions, creating what is known as a V shape. So that's where the V neckline gets its name from. This style actually originated in the Middle East, and it can be seen on some traditional garments from that area. At the same time, you can have a variety of different V-style necklines depending on how deep and the specific shape. So if the V neckline is extremely deep, which you typically see on women's items, it's what would be called a plunging V neckline. And if you end up having a small additional piece at the bottom of the V, it creates sort of like a trapezoidal shape or a trapeze shape. This is called a trapezoid neckline. So even within the same V-shaped neckline, you have different variations, how deep it goes, the specific shaping, but they all fall as part of the V neckline family. Why is this so attractive? Well, on men's items, especially on specific semi-casual performance-based items, it can be a great way to showcase the upper chest, right? If you have a nice upper chest, it's a great way to bring out that side of you. So V necklines can definitely be used on both performance and casual items. Outside of sportswear, you wouldn't typically see V necklines being used on formal attire. When it comes to women's dresses, yes, you can see a plunging neckline, and you can see other variations where you have an overlapping V neckline used on more women's items. However, when it comes to sportswear, definitely stick towards your more casual items. A V-shaped neckline is great, and it's pretty versatile when it comes to a casual sense of the wear. So do make sure to incorporate it into your collection, especially if you want that sort of appearance. Next up, we have the boat neckline, otherwise either known as the Sabrina or the bateau neckline. So the boat neckline or the bateau neckline comes from the word boat. Why would we call it boat? Well, it's pretty much because of how it's shaped. It's sort of shaped like a boat. A boat is very wide, but it's not so deep. Same thing with the boat neckline. It passes past the collarbone, so it kind of hits middle of the shoulder when it comes to edge of neckline, and it's pretty high up. Actually, it chokes at right around the bones that you have at your upper chest, a little bit higher than that. It's not choking up on the neck portion itself, but it's pretty high, and it actually compares quite closely to the next neckline, which we'll discuss, which is a scoop. When it comes to a boat neckline, where would you use it? Well, it's a very fashion-forward neckline, and it's one that you typically would only see on women's items. I wouldn't use it in a performance sense because it doesn't provide much support, especially in the upper region. It's a very trendy look, and it can be geared more towards a casual or a fashion-forward fitness market, which you definitely see with activewear. So it is something that you see quite often, but never would I use it for something like a sports performance or a garment that's geared towards high intensity training. Do keep that in mind, and at the same time, I don't necessarily think that it's an appropriate neckline for men's, just because it really doesn't do much to frame the shoulders, and it doesn't open up the chest. It's not a very masculine look. So if you're gonna go for a boat neckline, definitely consider it for women's items. more on the casual side. Following in from the boat neckline, we have the scoop neckline. The scoop neckline is quite similar. When it comes to where it hangs, it's a U-shaped neckline where the arms of the U are hanging in the middle of the shoulders. So unlike a crew neck collar, which sort of hangs right at the edges of your neck, you end up having a much wider opening. So it gives a certain appearance and it creates a much more relaxed look for the garment. In terms of the drop of the front neckline, you're definitely revealing a lot more than with a boat neckline. So you end up with a much more revealing look on the upper chest. Yes, this is both suitable for men and women. However, I definitely see it a lot more on men's casual items. A good example is the athlete scoop neck tee, which is a very casual look. And if you have a great upper chest, it's a nice way of bringing it out subtly. Is it everyone's cup of tea? Probably not. But if you do have the physique for it, it can be a very casual look that can be styled with jeans, chinos, or any other types of more formal pants versus joggers. And it's a great way to bring in a much more casual look to your active or your sportswear collection. When it comes to performance necklines, there is nothing better than the crew neck collar. The crew neck collar is everywhere. We see it on most day-to-day garments, and we definitely see it a lot on performance apparel. There's a very good reason for that. It's an extremely versatile neckline. It's one that doesn't choke up too high and one that doesn't reveal too much. At the same time, it can be worn by a variety of body types. It can be used in just about any material composition because it just has the right amount of coverage and an overall solid foundation. Usually a crew neck collar is characterized by a semi to tighter fit around the neck. It hits just at where your shoulder and your neckline meet. And when it comes to the front drop, it's definitely not too overly dropped and it doesn't ride up too high. It's a very comfortable fit and it's one that was specifically developed for sports performance. The crew neck, or sometimes called the new neck, gets its start in the rowing space. So in 1939, it was a neckline that was associated with the rowers, hence the name crew neck, and it was further developed for the American football space to be worn under American football padding because the padding would cause chafing, so it was worn as an undergarment layer that was extremely versatile, extremely durable, and very, very, let's just say, low-key, and it was done to help prevent the chafing and just an uncomfortable experience for the American football players, and that's sort of where it gets its space. It's very performance focused in its approach and it's extremely versatile. So if you're going for a very gym focused or a high intensity training focused item, definitely a crew neck collar would be your best bet. It's something that I highly recommend. You see it on a lot of sports performance apparel. And lastly, we have the oval neckline. The oval neckline, in my opinion, is a great transition from the crew neck collar and done in a way that's applicable towards more female-based items. So an oval neckline is characterized like a crew neck. It hits at right around the same area of the collar or the shoulder. However, you do get a little bit less coverage. It's a little bit wider to accommodate for the drop. It's shaped more like an O versus a U, and it definitely covers less when it comes to the front neckline. It opens up a little bit more, which can make it a bit more of a feminine look. So if you wanted to have a crew neck-esque appearance, but with a little bit less coverage for more female or feminine look, then an oval neckline would be perfect. You see this used on ladies' performance apparel because it just gives a nice feminine touch to the garment, versus a crew neck, which definitely has a bit more of a technical look. So if you wanted to incorporate a more feminine look to your performance garments, look at the oval neckline. It's definitely a great option. So to recap, when it comes to the 5 key necklines that you should all be looking at, we have our V neckline, we have our scoop neckline, we have our boat neckline, we have our crew neck, and then we have our oval neckline. Is there one neckline that works for any situation? Probably a crew neck collar is the most versatile out of them, but if you want to spice up your collection, do look at the other necklines we mentioned in this video, and of course there are a ton of others. If you want to see us do more technical videos like this, where we go through different types of necklines, armholes, sleeves, let us know in the comments below. We love creating fashion content and bringing that to you. We're extremely passionate about it, so I hope you guys do enjoy that content. Please consider subscribing, giving a thumbs up to the video. It really does help us a lot. And tune in next week for more Fittdesign TV goodness. Until next time, guys, stay awesome.